A prince is a male ruler, monarch, or member of a monarch's or former monarch's family. Prince is also a hereditary title in the nobility of some European states. The feminine equivalent is a princess. The English word derives, via the French word prince, from the Latin noun princeps, from primus plus capio, meaning the chief, most distinguished, ruler. Prince, historical background, became the usual title of the informal leader of the Roman Senate some centuries before the transition to empire. The princeps senatus. Emperor Augustus established the formal position of monarch on the basis of principate, not dominion. He also tasked his grandsons as summer rulers of the city when most of the government were on holiday in the country or attending religious rituals, and, for that task, granted them the title of princeps. The title has generic and substantive meanings. Generically, prince refers to members of a family that ruled by hereditary right, the title referring either to sovereigns or to cadets of a sovereign's family. The term may be broadly used of persons in various cultures, continents, or eras. In Europe, it is the title legally borne by dynastic cadets in monarchies, and borne by courtesy by members of formerly reigning dynasties. As a substantive title, a prince was a monarch of the lowest rank in post-Napoleonic Europe, e.g. princes of, respectively, Andorra, Hohenzollern, Sigmaringen, Mingrelia, Monaco, Waldeck and Piedmont, Wallachia, etc. Also substantively, the title was granted by popes and secular monarchs to specific individuals and to the heads of some high-ranking European families who, however, never exercised dynastic sovereignty and whose cadets are not entitled to share the princely title, viz. the princes de Beauvau-Cron, von Bismarck, Glonner, von Donner-Schlobitten, von Eulenburg, de Forseny-Lusing, von Lichnowsky, von Pless, Raffodi Calabria, von Sagan, van Ursel, etc. Generically, cadets of some non-sovereign families whose head bears the non-dynastic title of prince were sometimes also authorized to use the princely title, e.g. von Karlath-Buden, de Broglie, Demidov di San Donato, Leven, de Mirode Pignatelli, Radziwill, von Ried, Yusupov, etc. Substantively, the heirs apparent in some monarchies use a specific princely title associated with a territory within the monarch's realm, e.g. the princes of, respectively, Asturias, Grao Para, Orange, Viana, Wales, etc. Substantively, it became the fashion from the 17th century for the heirs apparent of the leading ducal families to assume a princely title, associated with the seigneury in the family's possession. These titles were borne by courtesy and preserved by tradition, not law, e.g. the princess.The, respectively, Bedek Marcelac, Tonne Charente, Poi, Alia Cuto N. Prince as generic for ruler. The original, but now less common use of the word, originated in the application of the Latin word princeps, from late Roman law, and the classical system of government that eventually gave way to the European feudal society. In this sense, a prince is a ruler of a territory which is sovereign, or quasi-sovereign, i.e. exercising substantial prerogatives associated with monarchs of independent nations, as was common, for instance, within the historical boundaries of the Holy Roman Empire. In medieval and early modern Europe, there were as many as 200 such territories, especially in Italy, Germany, and Gaelic Ireland. In this sense, prince is used of any and all rulers, regardless of actual title or precise rank. This is the Renaissance use of the term found in Niccolò Machiavelli's famous work, Il Principe. As a title, by the end of the medieval era, prince was borne by rulers of territories that were either substantially smaller than or exercised fewer of the rights of sovereignty than did emperors and kings. A lord of even a quite small territory might come to be referred to as a prince before the 13th century, either from translations of a native title into the Latin princeps, or when the lord's territory was allodial. The lord of an allodium owned his lands and exercised prerogatives over the subjects in his territory absolutely, owing no feudal homage or duty as a vassal to a liege lord, nor being subject to any higher jurisdiction. Most small territories designated as principalities during feudal eras were allodial, e.g., the princedom of Dombes. Lords who exercised lawful authority over territories and people within a feudal hierarchy were also sometimes regarded as princes in the general sense, especially if they held the rank of counter-hire. This is attested in some surviving styles, for e.g., British earls, marquesses, and dukes are still addressed by the crown on ceremonial occasions as high and noble princes. In parts of the Holy Roman Empire in which primogeniture did not prevail, all legitimate agnates had an equal right to the family's hereditary titles, while this meant that offices such as emperor, king, and elector could only be legally occupied by one dynasty at a time. Holders of such other titles as Duke, Margrave, Landgrave, Count Palatine, and Prince could only differentiate themselves by adding the name of their appanage to the family's original title. Not only did this tend to proliferate unwieldy titles, but as agnatic primogeniture gradually became the norm in the Holy Roman Empire by the end of the 18th century, another means of distinguishing the monarch from other members of his dynasty became necessary. Gradual substitution of the title of prince for the monarch's title of first occurred, and became customary for cadets in all German dynasties except in the Grand Duchies of Mecklenburg and Oldenburg. Both prince and first are translated into English as prince, but they reflect not only different but mutually exclusive concepts. This distinction had evolved before the 18th century for dynasties headed by a first in Germany. The custom spread through the continent to such an extent that a renowned imperial general, who belonged to a cadet branch of a reigning ducal family, remains best known to history by the generic dynastic title, Prince Eugene of Savoy. Note that the princely title was used as a prefix to his Christian name, which also became customary. Cadets of France's other princes étrangers affected similar usage under the Bourbon kings, always facing the skepticism of St. Simon. Unlike-minded courtiers, these quasi-royal aristocrats' assumption of the princely title as a personal, rather than territorial, designation encountered some resistance. In writing Histoire généalogique et chronologique, Père Anselme accepts that, by the end of the 17th century, the heir apparent to the House of La Tour d'Auvergne's sovereign duchy bears the title Prince de Bouillon, but he would record in 1728 that the heir's La Tour cousin, the Count of Oliax-Bulch, known as the Prince Frederick, the post-medieval rank of G1 Graf, embraced but elevated the German equivalent of the intermediate French, English, and Spanish nobles in the Holy Roman Empire. These nobles rose to dynastic status by preserving from the imperial crown the exercise of such sovereign prerogatives as the minting of money, the muster of military troops, and the right to wage war and contract treaties, local judicial authority and constabular enforcement, and the habit of intermarrying with sovereign dynasties. By the 19th century, cadets of the first would become known as prinzen, prince of the blood. The husband of a queen regnant is usually titled prince consort, or simply prince, whereas the wives of male monarchs take the female equivalent of the husband's title. In Brazil, Portugal, and Spain, however, the husband of a female monarch was accorded the masculine equivalent of her title, at least after he fathered her heir. In previous epochs, husbands of queens regnant were often deemed entitled to the crown non-matrimonial, sharing the consort's regnal title and rank juriuxoris. However, in cultures which allow the ruler to have several wives and/or official concubines, these women, sometimes collectively referred to as a harem, there are often specific rules determining the relative hierarchy and a variety of titles, which may distinguish between those whose offspring can be in line for the succession or not, or specifically who is mother to the heir to the throne. To complicate matters, the style His Her Highness, a prefix often accompanying the title of a dynastic prince, may be awarded, withheld separately. Although the arrangement set out above is the one that is most commonly understood, there are also different systems, depending on country, epoch, and translation. Other usages of prince are possible. Foreign language titles such as Italian principe, French prince, German Fürst and prince, Russian Yaz, etc., are usually translated as prince in English. Some princely titles are derived from those of national rulers, such as Tsarevich from Tsar. Other examples are Mirza, Khanzada, Nawabzada, Sahibzada, Shahzada, Sultanzada. However, some princely titles develop in unusual ways, such as adoption of a style for dynasts which is not pegged to the ruler's title, but rather continues an old tradition, claims dynastic succession to a lost monarchy. Specific titles in some dynasties, where specific style other than prince has become customary for dynasts, such as Fils de France in the House of Capet, and Infante. Infante was born by children of the monarch other than the heir apparent in all of the Iberian monarchies. Some monarchies used a specific princely title for their heirs, such as Prince of Asturias in Spain and Prince of Brazil in Portugal. Sometimes a specific title is commonly used by various dynasties in a region, e.g. Mian in various of the Punjabi princely hill states. European dynasties usually awarded appanages to princes of the blood, typically attached to a feudal noble title, such as Prince of Orange in the Netherlands, Britain's royal dukes, the Dauphin in France, the Count of Flanders in Belgium, and the Count of Syracuse in Sicily. Sometimes appanage titles were princely, e.g. Prince of Acaia, Prince de Condé, Prince of Carignan, but it was the fact that their owners were of princely rank rather than that they held a princely title which was the source of the preeminence. For the often specific terminology concerning an heir apparent, see Crown Prince. Prince is a substantive title. Other princes derive the title not from dynastic membership as such, but from inheritance of a title named for a specific and historical territory. The family's possession of prerogatives or properties in the territory might be long past. Such were most of the princedoms of France's ancient regime, so resented for the pretentiousness in the memoirs of Saint Simon. These included the princedoms of Varches, Charleville, Boisbel, Henricemont, Chalais, Châteauregnault, Gue, Acutem, Acuten, Acut, Martigues, Mercœur, Sedan, Talmont, Tingry, and the kingship of Yvetot, among others. Prince is a reigning monarch, a prince or princess who is the head of state of a territory that has a monarchy as a form of government is a reigning prince. Extant principalities. The current princely monarchies include the Co-Principality of Andorra, the Emirate of Kuwait, the Principality of Liechtenstein, the Principality of Monaco, the Emirate of Qatar, the member emirates of the Federation in the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Dubai, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Al Kuwain. Micronations. In the same tradition, some self-proclaimed monarchs of so-called micronations style themselves as princes. Roy Bates called himself Prince Roy of the Principality of Ceylon. Leonard George Castley calls himself Prince Leonard I of the Principality of Hud River. Prince exercising head of state's authority. Various monarchies provide for different modes in which princes of the dynasty contemporarily or permanently share in the style and/or office of the monarch. e.g., as regent or viceroy, though these offices may not be reserved legally for members of the ruling dynasty. In some traditions they are filled by dynasts, a fact which may be reflected in the style of the office, e.g., Prince President for Napoleon III as French head of state but not yet emperor, or Prince Lieutenant in Luxembourg, repeatedly filled by the Crown Prince before the Grand Duke's abdication, or in form of consortium imperii. Some monarchies even have a practice in which the monarch can formally abdicate in favor of his heir, and yet retain a kingly title with executive power, e.g., Mahapay of Raja, though sometimes also conferred on powerful regents who exercised executive powers. Non-dynastic princes in several countries of the European continent, such as France, prince can be an aristocratic title of someone having a high rank of nobility or as lord of a significant fief, but not ruling any actual territory and without any necessary link to the royal family, which makes it difficult to compare with the British system of royal princes. France and the Holy Roman Empire. The kings of France started to bestow the style of prince as a title among the nobility from the 16th century onwards. These titles were created by elevating a seigneury to the nominal status of a principality, although prerogatives of sovereignty were never conceded. In the letters patent, princely titles self-assumed by the princes du sang and by the princes étrangers were generally tolerated by the king and used at the royal court. Outside the Parliament of Paris, these titles held no official place in the hierarchy of the nobility, but were often treated as ranking just below ducal peerages, since they were often inherited by ducal heirs. French titles of prince recognized by the King. Holy Roman Empire states annexed by France. Arches Charleville, in the Ardennes region, near the border with the Empire. Château-Renaud, near Arches Charleville. Dombes, on the east bank of the Rhône. Orange, Sedan, held by the Dukes of Bouillon. Ancient principalities seated in the Kingdom of France. Boisbel, later Henrique Aimant, in the Berry region, a sovereign principality recognized in 1598. Lux, in the Bearn region, also styled sovereign count. Yvetot, in the Normandy region, recognized nominally as King of Yvetot. Principalities created by the King. Château-Porcien, in the Ardennes region, created in 1561 for the House of Croix. Guéuxtemps in Brittany, created in 1667 for the House of Rhône. Title borne by the Duke of Montbazon or his heir. Joinville, in the Champagne region, created in 1552 for the House of Lorraine. Martigues, in the Provence region, created 16th century for cadets of the House of Lorraine. Mercœur, in the Auvergne region, created in 1563 for cadets of the House of Lorraine, later a duchy. Recreated in 1719. Tingry, in the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region, created in 1587 for the House of Luxembourg. The Princes of Condé and Conti, heads of cadet branches of the French royal House of Bourbon, used recognized princely titles, but the lordships of Condé and Conti were never formally created principalities by the king. Unrecognized titles of Prince Aigrement, a net used by the Dukes of Vendôme, then the Dukes of Penthièvre, Antibes, claimed by the de Grasse family. Bede, in Bearn. Bede, in Bearn, used by the Dukes of Gramont, but the heir was usually styled Count of Guiche rather than Prince of Bede. Carency, in Artois, originally a lordship of the House of Bourbon. It was inherited by the Counts of La Vauguyon, who used the style of Prince of Carency for the heir. Chabanais, in Angoumois. Chalais, in Périgord, inherited by the elder branch of the Talleyrand family. Spanish grandiership attached to the title in 1714. Commercy, Lordship of Lorraine. Cadets of the House of Lorraine used the style of Prince of C. Courtenay. The House of Courtenay legitimately descended from Louis VI of France but not recognized as princes sang by France's kings. The last branch of the house used the style of Prince of Courtenay from the 17th century. The style passed to the Dukes of Beaufort, Elbeuf, Lordship of Normandy. Younger sons of the House of Guise used the style of Prince d'Elbeuf, later a duchy, Lamballe, in Brittany, used by the heir of the Bourbon Duke of Penthièvre. Lamisque, in Provence, used by various cadets of the House of Guise, notably by the heirs of the Dukes of Elbeuf. Lequeton, Viscountcy of Brittany. The heirs of the Dukes of Rohan used the style of Prince of Lequeton. L'Issanois, in Franche-Comté, used by the Dukes of Beaufort after the Courtenay inheritance. Marcellac, in Angoumois, used by the heir of the Duc de la Rochefoucauld. Maubuisson, in Ile-de-France, used by the Dukes of Rohan. Montauban, in Brittany, used by various cadets of the House of Rohan. Montbazon, a duchy of the House of Rohan, style of Prince of Montbazon used by various cadets of the house. Mortagne, in Aquitaine, used by the Dukes of Richelieu. Huy, in Picardy, used by various families, twice raised to a duchy. Pons, in Saintonge, used by cadets of the House of Guise. Rochefort, used by cadets of the House of Rohan. Soubise, used by head of the second branch of the House of Rohan, also Dukes of Rohan. Soyons, in Dauphiné, used by cadets of the Dukes of Uzes. Talmond, in Vendée, used by the Dukes of La Trémouille. Tonnay-Charente, used by the heirs of the Dukes of Mortemart. Chiren, Viscounty of the House of La Tour d'Auvergne, style of Prince de Chiren used by cadets of the house. This can even occur in a monarchy within which an identical but real and substantive feudal title exists, such as Fürst in German. An example of this is Otto von Bismarck was created Prince von Bismarck in the Empire of Reunited Germany under the Hohenzollern dynasty. Spain, France and Netherlands. In other cases, such titular princedoms are created in chief of an event, such as a treaty of a victory. An example of this is, the Spanish minister Manuel Godoy was created Príncipe de la Paz, a Prince of Peace, by his king for negotiating the 1795 double peace treaty of Basilia, by which the revolutionary French Republic made peace with Prussia and with Spain. The triumphant generals who led the troops to victory often received a victory title from Napoleon, both princely and ducal. King William I of the Netherlands bestowed the victory title of Prince of Waterloo upon Arthur Wellesley, Duke of Wellington, after his victory over Napoleon I Bonaparte at Waterloo in 1815. Poland and Russia. In Poland specifically, the titles of prince dated either to the times before the Union of Lublin or were granted to Polish nobles by foreign kings, as the law in Poland forbade the king from dividing nobility by granting them hereditary titles. See the princely houses of Poland. In the Russian system, knyaz, translated as prince, is the highest degree of official nobility. Members of older dynasties, whose realms were eventually annexed to the Russian Empire, were also accorded the title of knyaz, sometimes after first being allowed to use the higher title of tsarevich. The many surviving branches of the Rurik dynasty used the knyaz title before and after they yielded sovereignty to the kinsmen, the Grand Princes of Muscovy, who became tsars, and, under the House of Romanov, emperors of Russia. The title of prince in various Western traditions and languages. In each case, the title is followed by the female form and then the name of the territory associated with it, each separated by a slash. If a second title is also given, then that one is for a prince of the blood, the first for a principality. Be aware that the absence of a separate title for a prince of the blood may not always mean no such title exists. Alternatively, the existence of a word does not imply there is also a reality in the linguistic territory concerned. It may very well be used exclusively to render titles in other languages. Regardless whether there is a historical link with any etymologically, we can discern the following traditions. Romance languages, languages only using the Latin root princeps. Catalan, princep, princesa, princep, princesa. French, prince, princesse, prince, princessi. Italian, principe, principessi, princip, principessi. Italian, principe, principessa, principe, principessa. Latin, princeps, asterisk, princeps, asterisk. Monegasque, principe, principessa, principe, principessa. Occitan, prince, princessa, prince, princessa. Portuguese, principe, princessa, principe, princessa. Rätoromansch, princi, princessa, princi, princessa. Romanian, print, printesa, principe, principessa. Spanish, principe, princessa, principe, princessa. The Venetian, principe, principessa, principe, principessa. Celtic languages, Celtic languages. Breton, prince, princes. Irish, prancer, ban franzer, flath, bamlaith. Scottish Gaelic, prancer, banner franzer, flath, ban flath. Welsh, to wissoges, prince, princes. Germanic languages, languages that use an equivalent of the German first. English, prince, princess, prince, princess. Afrikaans, prince. Danish, fierstind, prince, princessie. Dutch, vorst, vorsten, prince, princes. Faroese, fursti, furstefruit, furstina, prince short, princessa. Frisian, forst, forstine, prince, princessie. German, fursten, prince, prinsessan. Icelandic, fursti, furstenia, prince, princessa. Luxembourgish, fursten, prince, prinsessan. Norwegian, fierstine, prince, princessie. Old English, thelling, heidige. Swedish, furstina, prince, princessa. Slavic and Baltic languages, Slavic and Baltic languages. Belarusian, Tsarevich, Karlovich, prince, Tsarevna, Karolina, princessa. Bosnian, or Kandz, Nijanja or Kraljevich, Kraljevna, or prince, princesa. Bulgarian, Nyaz, Nyaganya, prince, princessa. Croatian, Knez, Nijanja, Kraljevich, Kraljevna, prince, princesa. Czech, Nys, Nesna, prince, Kralevich, princesna. Latvian, firstien, princess, princesha. Lithuanian, Kunigaikštis, Kunigaikštien, princess, princesha. Macedonian, Knez, Najina, prince, princesa. Polish, Kasiaz, Kiesna, Kasiaz. Kralevich, Kiesna, Kroyuna. Russian, or Nyaz, Nyagwina, Nyazhina. Tsarevich, Korolevich, prince, Tsarevna, Korolovna, princessa. Serbian, or Kandz, Nijanja or Kraljevich, Kraljevna, or prince, princesa. Slovak, Nyezet, Nazna, Kralovich, prince, princesna. Slovene, Knez, Nijanja, prince, princessa. Kraljevich, Kraljigna. Ukrainian, Nyaz, Nyazhnia. Zarenko, Korolenko, prince, Tsarevna, Korolovna, princesna. Other languages: Albanian, prince, princeshe, prince, princeshe. Bangla, prince, princes. Arabic, emir, emira, prince, princess. Estonian, verst, verstina, prince, princess. Filipino, principe, princessa, prince, princess. Finnish, rutinas, rutinator, princi, princessa. Georgian, tavadi. Greek, prijkeps, pyro iota gamma kappa eta psi, prijkepissa, pyro iota gamma kappa eta pi iota sigma sigma alpha. Greek Prigkippas, Pyro Iota Gamma Kappa Eta Pi Alpha Sigma, Prigkippassa, Pyro Iota Gamma Kappa Eta Pi Iota Sigma Sigma Alpha. Hindi, Rajkumar QR, both from Sanskrit Raj plus Kumara. Hungarian, Herzig, Herzigno, or Feudalum, Feudalum no if head of state. Indonesian, Pangeran, Putri. Malaysian, Putra, Puteri. Maltese, Princep, Princepessa, Princep, Princepessa. Persian, Shahzad, Shahpur. Tamil, Ilavarazar, Ilavarazi, Prince, Princess. Turkish, Prince, Princes, Sazad. Urdu, Shahzada, Shahzadi, Prince, Princess.